stream. And I'm going to do that. See if we can connect to Facebook. Can take a few seconds. It looks like we're going live on everything except for Facebook, and we're going to go live. So I'm just going to go throw to you. It's we're 2 minutes late. So you ready to do this?
Yes.
Okay. Go.
America, we're 2 minutes late. Will you forgive us? Find out right now. That's right. Very Dad Ideas is live. The time is now. The future is here. Today is Tomorrowland. Except not that movie that nobody saw. It's just tomorrow. You're almost at tomorrow. That's basically the best news that we can bring for you today. You are with us here at Very Dead Ideas Studio. I'm in the Northern California sector. Some might say quadrant. And my friend over there, Nye Warburton, is down south.
I'm like the Michael Cohen to your Donald Trump. I am like I am your loyal partner in this live streaming that we're doing. This is episode.
And this show 50. Is our hamburger steak with the ketchup on it. Served well done.
This is episode 15. We've done 15 of these, Darren. Believe it or not.
15.
Yeah.
Our quinceañera.
Yeah, and if anyone would like to, Finally Famous has joined. Thank you for joining us. If let me test our chat here. If anyone would like to,
we're not sure. We even.
If you'd like to contribute to the chat on this, please write us below. So tonight, Darren, we are talking about all kinds of stuff. To Facebook or not to Facebook.
Or not to Facebook.
And essentially, who gives a shit? We're going to chat about Zuck. We're going to chat about...
We have a lot of little like sort of mini things to discuss. There's
many things.
It's been a fantastic week. It's been a really surreal week in a lot of ways. I know that that I have many things to say. I could talk about. I think I want to do my Tales from the Dad's.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we always start our show with the Tales of the Dad side or Dad Vice. So why don't we go ahead and do that ourselves, and then we'll go right over to you. How about let's do that?
All right, that's great.
Tales from the Dad side.
From the Dad side. Don't you, your rebel friend,
entire legion of my best troops.
How did I get so young in Jedi?
So what happened? So tell me your Tales of the Dad side.
Okay, so America, the sweet viewers at home, I went to a birthday party, as you do on any one given day of your
another birthday party.
Another birthday party, and I'm sorry for going with that theme because I know that we've talked so much about it, but they just keep happening. They just keep coming up, man. And this one was at the school, like the school we go to. We did it at the school playground. The parents, their kid, like lives around there. It's a nice big space. It totally made sense. The kids had a ball. It was great. They brought some like really tasty Korean food, and like every kid I think loves bulgogi. I have to say.
Oh yeah,
bulgogi,
for sure.
Make the world go around. It's like teriyaki steak. It's delicious. We're all standing around and we're chit chatting, and I'm talking to one of the moms there, and there's somebody else has got a kid with like a baby, sort of in the Bjorn. I didn't bring Sam. It was actually right during his nap time, and a fucking squirrel fell off the tree that was 2 stories above us and landed about 8 inches from my shoulder.
So a squirrel falls off a tree onto your shoulder?
Not onto my shoulder, 8 inches from my. I mean, just like shoo, just fell like here. And
nice.
Went bam on the ground, and we're all standing there, and like, there was a reaction. Everyone, there was a lot of holy shit.
Yeah.
And there's just a ton of children around, and we're all trying to like
be very, very calm and
world, but like then it's also at the school where these kids are, and just like I was just going nuts because like the squirrel's just laying there and it's not moving, and it's just like looking up at us with the one eye and just staring at us and breathing really sharply because it just fell like, I don't know, 20, 25 feet, just bam. and it's looking up at us, and I'm looking at the squirrel, I'm looking at the people around, and I'm thinking, oh my, because I'm from the Midwest, and I'm thinking, this squirrel is dying, and I got to find something to put under the squirrel and get the squirrel.
Oh, but it's fine. I'm sure it's fine, right? Like
out of here, and I'm looking around. There's just nothing that I can pick the squirrel up with, and I'm like.
But is it like dead or hurt, or is it?
And it's laying there for at least 2 or 3 minutes, like, and everyone's just sort of trying to figure out the best way, because at this point the kids don't see that a squirrel has either tried to kill me and failed, because you come at the king, or that it turns out. So I'll just fast forward, is that the squirrel fucking like gets up and is dazed as shit, and it's just like bounding around and runs right through the path of all the children, and the kids are totally used to this because
it just starts spitting rabies, like rabies just go everywhere.
That's what I'm thinking the whole time. I'm like, somebody get that fucking squirrel and get it off the field, get the squirrel off the field, and the squirrel runs off, and then. I don't know, like a million jokes later from everybody.
Right.
It's a bunch of goofballs at this place, and then so about 15 minutes later, a bigger squirrel with that squirrel is in his mouth, and we're like I'm thinking just the most horrible thoughts. I'm like they're omnivores, man. That is fucking, that's meat, and he's just gonna eat that, and then I'm not so sure. Like, I think maybe it could have been like that. It was maybe a little bit of not a full-size squirrel, and that was the mama squirrel. That's the really good one. That's the fuzzy feeling one. But the other thing is maybe he just trucked him up, and I found sort of where their squirrel nest was. It's a huge tree, and it's really like you can imagine the amount of jokes that a bunch of nervous people will tell as they're trying to negotiate rabies.
With their like 6-year-old children going around.
They're precious little babies. It was it was nuts, man. I honestly feel like it was like taking drugs. What's gonna happen next?
And how are you feeling now, my friend?
I'm a little bit better. It was Saturday. This is Tuesday. I've had a few days
to shake it off.
Yeah, to sort of find my center and breathe from within and pushing out, enveloping the squirrel.
So as Darren gets over his squirrel trauma, I want to say one thing before we get into our Facebook segment is I want to bitch about Michael Cohen.
I want to hear this. I really want to hear your take on Cohen. Can we get one of those shots in the picture?
Yeah. So I thought, this is Zuck, but this is the one. This is.
It's the Frank Stallone shot. He looks like Frank Stallone. He's beautiful. So I like how he uses the other hand for the ear. I said to you when we started doing this show, I wanted to really avoid being political. I mean, look at this dude. This is just like. So, anyways, I wanted to avoid being political, but you know what? Okay, fuck it. This guy. Okay, so what I wanted to say was I grew up in Rhode Island, where Buddy Cianci was the mayor of Providence, and Buddy Cianci was like a criminal, like a really good criminal. Like he had deep ties to the mob, and Providence got remade, and the downtown was great and whatever. But he was a pretty good criminal. Like he covered his tracks or whatever. Michael Cohen is a bad criminal. He's just not bad as in yes, he's morally bankrupt or whatever. He's bad at it. He's just bad at it. And I just hope they all fucking get nailed to the wall. Roasted. I mean
roasted. This is my theory of what it and this is partly me reading a bunch of stuff and also whatever. This is my theory. About 10 years ago, the Trump administration went from, I don't want to use the word legitimate, but yes, they were kind of they took money from legitimate sources and then they invested into real estate. When you're a real real estate investor, you take money and you put it into a hotel and then you clean it up and then you try to sell it or whatever. I think no one was going to give Donald Trump any money. So he started working with this ambulance chaser who did these taxi medallion crap. And And what they started doing is they started branding offshore deals, and not even like London and Paris. It was like Uruguay and like I mean the
just
deal
overseas, not here.
Just overseas, and I think it is a global money racket, like a global money laundering scheme. And I think that they're working with like third class, not even first class criminals. I think they're working with just like really shitty criminals and their money laundering. And I think that's what we're going to find. And, you know, the really sad thing, Darren, is that Trump will not be impeached. Even if they find this all out, like, because the Republicans are such pussies that they're not going to, like, disrupt anything. So the best we can do, we still have to go out and vote.
And they would look so much better if they would just be like, look, you just can't be in this club anymore. Get the fuck out of here. You have to go. You have to resign. You really have to. Look at yourself in the mirror and fire yourself. Just get the fuck out of here, dude. You don't want this show.
I think this is huge. I mean, and that's why I want to bring it up, is that because, like, there's been we all know. We all really know what's going on, but this is like the first real in that they have, and I think that they're going to discover that Cohen just has a slew of really shady, crappy activity. So
can we see? I mean, I hate being like, look at him but just like the look on his face, and then one where he looks like Frank Stallone. Can we get?
Oh yeah, you want to go back to that one? Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. God damn it! Oh, that's good.
It's just like, where do you find this picture?
Oh fuck! I love that when reporters don't like you, man.
And this jacket too. I mean, the whole guy.
Yeah, he chose his own jacket. He's definitely a guy who he went with that one.
It's just gonna be.
Maybe he has a dresser. You think he has a dresser?
He has a dresser? I don't know, man. I mean, he could. Let me get back to our two. Sorry. Anyway, so that was my quick derailment. I mean,
dude, I fucking love it because like it's funny, like they. Oh well, just that, and combined with their sort of top Fox guy, like, and those guys sort of sharing a lawyer, that whole.
Oh, you mean Hannity or whatever his name? Yeah. Oh god. I mean, it's gonna be awesome. It's just gonna be fucking.
It really is gonna be. It's gonna be some good TV. We've been watching for a year.
We've been watching good TV. The only concern is, once Trump gets boxed in a cage, we know that he's like all about self-preservation. Like,
right.
That could. I mean, we haven't even gotten to Zuck's Congress. Testimony.
Okay, yeah. So he went before the Senate and the Congress.
Yeah. So why don't we take a quick break? We'll come back.
Yeah.
We'll start live drawing. Maybe we'll do Zuck, and then we'll go into that. What do you think about that?
I think that sounds good. Guys, get ready to hear a little Jen Remington. This is a real treat. If you want to hear more stuff, she's over at heydog.net.
.com. Hey dog with two G's.
She's got the real money. She buys a .com. She doesn't get a net.
She throws down.
There's a guy affiliated with the show who's at a .net, and it's just.
That guy. Okay.
It's me. So it's heydog.com, and she's got a bunch of other songs. She does a great job.
All right, we'll be right back. All right, we're back. So
Back.
we're in ever trying to keep on schedule. We're going to go into our live draw right now, but we've got so much to talk about, Darren.
Yeah, we do. About Mark Zuckerberg while we draw live. Maybe something Mark Zuckerberg inspired.
Yeah. So Zuck went in front of. So Darren, you watched the Senate, right?
Yeah, I watched the like day one, and I got bored because what I kept hearing was like senator after senator like asking him, like what his name was, and like commenting that there were 2 billion Facebook users, and then commenting that that's a lot of users, and sort of mistaking him for Instagram, and just generally not really asking questions. They would ask a question that would sort of morph into a statement, and then they would ask another question at the end of it. And I thought Zuckerberg on his first day did a real good job, just sort of
fending it off.
And sort of making the senators look a little bit better, because he was like actually making questions for him. And maybe I guess from what you're saying is that like this.
Yeah, but I'm having major tech problems tonight, Dare.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's my drawing pad that doesn't seem to be wanting to like work. I'm trying to draw. Well, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna draw with a mouse. You know what?
Oh my god, dude! You're gonna draw with a mouse?
I'm gonna try to draw.
So hard.
It is. It's pretty hard. But that's okay because Zuckerberg is a robot. So
I like that. All right. So tonight is a mouse drawn episode, folks. This is 15. This is what we're doing to celebrate the quinceañera.
That's right.
We got a mouse drawn Zuckerberg, and I think in real life you might find that he might be operated by a bunch of mice. Who knows?
Yeah.
He might be just a trench coat filled with mice.
So yeah, I think you missed the good one because
they got him. They like stuck it to him. They're all like, collect our data.
So I think that the Senate had no freaking clue. It was a bunch of old white people who were just like, oh, 2 billion.
That's the day that
user.
I saw it.
Yeah.
And they were just like,
useless.
Did you get the internet into a room?
Tell me what a social network is. Right. So Congress is like much scrappier, right? So
yeah.
So their whole line of questioning was like yes or no, you collect data. And then Zuck was like, Senator, you have to no, yes or no.
Yeah. You have to yeah, exactly. You have to sort of give us what you do.
Right.
You can't give us our kinds of we're the ones who get to answer things in vague ways. You don't.
So he definitely felt much more uncomfortable, but the thing that I wanted to bring up and then this is really so as somebody who is left leaning, you might also feel the same way. They kept bringing up Diamond and Silk.
Okay. Yeah, this is we were talking about this.
So Diamond and Silk is these two right here. They are
for a project management tool
called, let me see if I can find a picture. But you can see this is basically a couple of black women who are actually Trump supporters. They support Trump. They have a huge following, and this is basically the crux of the problem. The reason why they keep coming up, right? So like Fox News, right? Here we go, right? Diamond and Silk, Facebook said we're unsafe, right? I mean, this is on Fox and Friends. They're obviously playing directly to the base. They have 1 point something million users on Facebook, and this is the problem. It's like they're just spouting off whatever from their particular point of view, and they have a huge fan base. This isn't like terrorism. This isn't like hate speech or anything like that. This is basically two people who kind of like us. We're just getting on or whatever, putting out.
Yeah, they're like they just hired a couple of evangelists.
Right. So this brings up this interesting thing: is if they're just going on and saying whatever they want and they're pushing an entire population, Facebook can't regulate them, can't stop them, can't do whatever. Right. I mean, that's what free speech is, and that's kind of what the crux of the problem. I feel like my baby monitor is going.
Oh yeah.
So that was really the.
I don't have a baby monitor. What happens? What is that? What has to happen for your baby monitor to go off?
I think I have to plug it in.
Oh. juice.
Yeah.
All right, so Diamond and Silk are
So
sort
Vamp.
of yeah, no sweat. I did not know this. I didn't know that Diamond and Silk were a thing. I just never get to watch live TV. That's part of the problem. I think all of my stuff is like castable. Like I pick up episodes like here or there. But the live stuff is really hard to get at. So I listen like a streaming radio, or like I just don't do enough that way. Like I spend all this money on different like Roku's and Hulu's and
Yeah.
all those things, but I don't get and you know, I guess I just wouldn't sit around watching Fox News either, like especially if I had to like install an app. Although I think I do have Fox, some sort of Fox app on Roku.
This sounds great. I'm sorry I missed all of this.
No, none of it's good. None of it's good. It's terrible vamping. I'm just explaining how I watch TV. Like literally the most boring thing that you could think of to talk about. I have plenty to say about it, apparently.
So, I mean, I think my favorite part about the whole thing was a bunch of congressmen and women talking about Diamond and Silk over and over again as an example, right? And
what are they doing? What are they? They're just. I mean, they're just playing. They're just sort of doing like a. It's like that would be like a sideshow for the old Steve Carell. No, not Steve Carell's. Stephen Colbert show. You know, when it was the Colbert Report. Like
yeah.
They just took a couple of people.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this is really what this was all about. And I think the other thing that kind of came about from this whole thing was the advertising model that's being used right now, that Facebook is used in, like when they were questioning him on, hey, are you using advertising to monetize? He was very evasive about that, because we all know that, you know, when you like, if you're collecting and you see, oh, you have a dog, that's one thing, and you can sell that person dog food. But if you're actually affecting an election because you're pulling in advertising data and then selling it to like the Cambridge Analyticas of the world,
right,
that's really, really bad. So
yeah, well, that's where I sort of get. You mentioned Cambridge Analytica, and that's sort of that makes me think of like, so taxes, right? I mean, I guess if you're reading too, the IRS has to give one more day for people to get their taxes in because the system got totally like banged out tonight.
Yeah.
But like in the last 2 days, each night, I've gotten like a robocall that that goes like this. Please play.
Notice from IRS. Internal Revenue Services. The reason of this call is to inform you that IRS is filing lawsuit against you. To get more information.
So it goes on and whatever. It's just a.
So the IRS will never call, but so you're basically saying this is a scam that is
yeah,
going...
and up here in NorCal, it's like people have sort of documented it, and it's on another like email group like Nextdoor. I use Nextdoor, and everyone's talking about it, and because everyone's gotten hit, so they're sort of blanketing our area, and it's fine. Like I wouldn't think to do anything about it, but then the next thing I'm thinking about is you got that Jordan Peele.
Oh yeah.
Barack Obama AI.
Yeah, let's see if we can pull that up.
Just sort of dropped in the last a little bit from now, and when you sort of combine the gullibility of like an IRS robocaller with this guy, I think it gets pretty scary. Or it could get scary fast, because pretty soon my roomy little eyes aren't going to be able to discern what's real and what's fantasy. I'm just going to be hosed.
Yeah, it looks like it's working now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is Jordan Peele talking and using...
And he does some really, he says some great stuff, great topical stuff.
But this is kind of like, this sort of, this echoes on what we were talking about last week, right? I'm gonna turn this down a little bit so we're not, not blasting out our users here. But like, he's totally talking and crazy.
I know. Well, and then you think about that thing you were showing last week when you had one of those face rigs that you could do it in real time.
But this is actually even worse. And in fact, I mean, we talked about this before when we were talking about AI here. Like, let me bring a little bit over here. If you have all these videos of Barack Obama like this, and you feed it into this AI, this neural network, right?
Yeah.
It basically takes, oh, this is his head, this is his hand, this is his head, this is his hand, and it learns and it learns, it learns, it learns, it learns. So now when you feed in anybody talking, it uses this immense bank of data to reconstruct an image, right? So this is where we're heading with like...
This is where we're heading as fast as we can.
It's totally crazy. And so, I mean, it's just like, this is like Photoshop, except... with video.
It's like the old school Photoshop where you were like, I could see a thing there but now it's going to be full motion video. And like, I got to say, looking at it versus looking at it on like a big screen versus like my phone, on my phone, it looked way better just because. Because
the resolution was less, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, I think it's going to get really tricky pretty fast, even for like young people.
Yeah.
I'm old. I will get pulled down by this way before our kids or your kids' kids, or well, our kids' kids will definitely be out of the game. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just like we're gonna fall prey to this. Like instead of like the guy like knocking on your door and like wanting to sell you this or that, or it's not gonna be. There's gonna be somebody impersonating one of your loved ones. And, you know, they're gonna give you some wild thing that you've got to do and send like a check somewhere. And I don't know. Or it won't be sending a check. It'll just be like you have to click on this button.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, there's going to have to be all kinds of new systems in place for us to be in the internet that's going to have to protect us. And like, it's going to be like, hey, this is my private key. That's actually not me because my key doesn't match up or whatever, right? I mean, that all these. But you're right. For the first 2 years that this exists, people are just going to get hosed.
Yeah, and then maybe somehow the silver lining for me is that it'll be something like Cyberpunk or Shadowrun. Like once we get into these like haptic rigs, where maybe you can at least kung fu some of this stuff like away with like, I don't know, you ice the black ice. You'll be able to use some sort of spell.
Yeah,
like you'll be able to Shadowrun it away by hiring a data jacker or you know, somebody with a coax cable, like they can just plug in Matrix style and fight off the virus for you.
Yeah, you've been reading a lot of like Neil Stevenson or something, right? Or like
can read a page at a time before something around him. The kid is going from like ooching around to standing, and it's nuts in this house.
Yeah,
it's great, but it's nuts.
Yeah, I think. So my last question. So this is our live draw. I'm just going to sign it. Not bad for mousing it, Darren. I don't know what's wrong with my.
I swear to God, like Nye Warburton, folks. What happens? He has some sort of a peripheral. Take a dump. No problem. Just mouse it out.
Yeah. So Lisa has already stopped going on Facebook. Wow, my hair is just like crazy. I'm like crazy artist person. But
you have some beautiful corn silk hair there.
No, I do.
Yeah.
So she's already stopped going on Facebook.
She's already just
and I quite honestly this past week, except for tonight, I really haven't logged on either. I think it's affected my mental state about Facebook. Has it changed you at all, or are you still kind of?
Well, I have friends in the Midwest that I like to peripherally keep track of, and it's really easy to see them on Facebook. I've got family in the Midwest, and I really don't get to see them that often. So I still come down to that I will use Facebook, but you know, it's, you know how you sort of like look at and you're like, how do I have 500 friends? I know I don't have 500.
Yeah, definitely.
I know I don't. So why do I have so many of these people on here? Like I'm thinking about just sort of keeping it, but only for like friends or whatever. Cause like I got the email that said, you know, somebody in your list answered the thing from Cambridge, that whatever questionnaire that they sent.
Oh yeah, right. So you're on that list.
So like like they know whatever, you know, they know whatever you can know about somebody through a friend or what, you know, like through ever. But I don't have a whole lot of stuff on Facebook except for like pictures of my kids and stuff like that. And,
So you have this
you know,
great,
like some,
a great profile picture, right? I mean, that's
yeah,
pretty good.
Actually,
in fact,
like,
let's go to that right now.
Thank you. Can we? Because honestly, like I put that up there and I was like, if this isn't a fun time, then I am gonna quit Facebook, because I was just like, this is why I was on Facebook to begin with, is
to be able to like
say a couple of potty thing jokes and to fucking look terrible, you know.
So if you still are on Facebook, go to Darren Jennings' profile.
Yeah,
and
check that
like,
out, because that's
like
a fucking
right...
sweet shot. You fuckers pull off a pencil stash like that. That was for a job.
Oh really? For a job?
Yeah. That was, they put me in that. It was awesome. It was a fun fucking day.
Fantastic.
But yeah, I honestly, that's the, like, I'm sort of bummed that I mean, I was like, if people don't fucking like get a laugh from this, then I'm fucking leaving Facebook, because I did it. I got on Facebook because I wanted to jab at people from across, you know, the continent, and if it's not going to be that way, like, fuck it. You know? Yeah.
Well, you know, so either we're leaving Facebook because of data breach, or we're leaving Facebook because it's not funny enough. It's no fun.
If it's not fun, fuck it, right?
Yeah. So we're going to take another quick break. We are going to, in fact, Darren, we didn't throw this guy at you.
Oh, you son of a bitch. You waited until I was going to have a beverage. Come on, you fat.
So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to wrap up. We've got some
snoke you.
A couple of recommendations we're going to do, and then we'll be right back. Okay. Come back. All right, welcome back. This is our final segment of the show, where we're going to do recommendations and whatnot. But before we do, let's do some business, Darren.
Oh yeah. Tell us about how you made the show.
Yeah. So, Very Dad Ideas. Let's see. It was made with a variety of Adobe products in OBS Studio. We use Restream.io to hit the networks. We use Voicemeeter and Banana for all of our audio levels, and Darren and I chat using Discord. You can find us at Very Dad Ideas on Facebook Live, on YouTube, Periscope, and Twitter. Yep. Also on Twitch. Yep. I haven't done shit with Twitch. I really should. But anyways,
they're all watching Fortnite anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So at Very Dad Ideas, our archive is on YouTube and at Buzzsprout, which is verydadideas.buzzsprout.com. But as of next week, we should be submitting to Spotify and to Apple iTunes. That is where the big.
That's right, folks.
That's where we will be completely ignored.
That's where the dads. No, that's where the dads go to play. both. That's both like a recess and a sanctum sanctorum for dads. Both of those places, Spotify and iTunes. Next week.
So all of
don't go there this week. Don't go there at all until we're there.
Until we're there. So
Right.
if you go to verydadideas.com, you will see an archive of all the episodes except for the last two, which I haven't updated yet, but they will be there.
Because Nye doesn't care.
I don't care.
He doesn't care.
I don't care what I'm commuting, for 15 hours a week or whatever the fuck I do.
I am blown away by your commute, man. I am blown away by it.
So the guy over there, you can find him at darrenjennings.net. I am
But
Nye
there's
Warburton.
no reason to go. Like this, there's just like I haven't updated. I think the cover page still says that I ride my motorcycle in Venice.
Yeah, I think it does for sure. But
think it does.
But you've got that great Optimus Prime. These particles will stay on it. That's like my favorite thing on your website.
That's
So
good stuff.
go check out his stuff. You can visit me at NyeWarburton.com, and also our music is done by the very talented Jen Remington, who is at HeyDog.com. There you go.
Yeah,
there
she's
is
got the
our
money for .com. She doesn't need that .net shit.
Yeah.
Neither do I. That's the only thing I can afford.
So, Darren, let's wrap our show up with a couple of recommendations.
Me and my wife were like, we were okay on our tax returns, and we were actually thinking for a half second that we might upgrade our phones. And I think before we could even do that, we were just like this, and we just stopped, and we just like looked at something else on our phones.
Right, and there goes that thought.
And
right.
we still haven't even upgraded our phones because we don't care.
So Darren, what do you got? What is on?
Okay, so I said last week that I was jazzed about the Andre the Giant documentary. And that had just dropped on HBO. And so I have now seen it, and without spoiling anything, I would just like to go forward and say that is worth seeing. That was a documentary that it wasn't like mind-blowing or anything like that, but Andre the Giant is probably it's just a sad story, like a lot of these wrestlers are. Not the saddest. What was great about him is that he he was from that era where he just picked up and moved from where he was living, and then he just started working, and he worked all over the world in this sport in its not nascent, but
when did he start wrestling? Like, how old was he when he started wrestling?
I feel like he started wrestling, sort of in the 70s. Like, he was definitely a wrestler of the 70s who made it into the 80s.
Yeah.
And
he was huge in the 80s for sure.
He died in 93 or 4 or something like that. I mean, but he was a real, he was everything that you would think that somebody who did that for a living was. I mean, and he was this is not going to spoil anybody anything. He was an immense drinker. And I think part of that is
probably need a lot of booze to fill that up, right? I mean, Jesus.
Well, and just the responsibility of always being this big guy, no matter where the fuck he was, always coming into a room and being just the biggest guy. And everyone's gonna fucking just and I don't know. You really feel something for him, and but at the same, there's and there's these fun myths. I'm not gonna spoil anything. I'm not going to spoil anything because it's like an hour and 35 minutes. It's barely even a sit down. It's not like one of these 2.5 hour things.
Yeah.
It's a tight hour and a half, and it's fascinating.
Yeah,
they do a whole thing on the Princess Bride. They do. They do
great.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, I definitely want to set aside some time to do it for sure.
If you're a dad
cool.
and you want to watch something, especially if you're you would love this movie.
Yeah. I'm sure I will. I'll definitely check it out. So my recommendation is a little bit different. It's also a documentary. It's called Silicon Cowboys. And this is basically about. I guess that's the actual movie. So this is what it is. So these three guys worked at Texas Instruments in the early 80s, and they left and started a company, had no idea what they're doing, and they basically built compact computer in the early days and outperformed IBM. And another one, it's an hour and 16 minutes, and I love
that's awesome. I love that. Yeah.
I love this shit because it's like I'm not I'm not a corporate guy. So
Right.
these guys are sticking it to, and they eventually became a big, corporation themselves.
And
but
it sort of follows the best part of watching one of those movies.
That's exactly right.
The disruption of.
That's exactly right. Like no one watches, The Social Network to watch Zuck sit in front of Congress. They watch the Social Network to see the early days when he's
to watch the early days when they're all hungry and they're like out there and they're trying to figure it out. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I had a lot of fun watching this. I just thought it was, just great. It's a David and Goliath story, but I had a load of fun.
We love those. I love those.
That was great. So that was my recommendation. Cool. So looking forward in the future episodes, we're thinking about getting a couple people in from guests. We're probably going to have Dave Sorokin back. I'm hoping to have Avish Parashar on the show, and we'll be doing some more things. Any ideas that you want to throw into the mix before we sign off for the night?
Before we sign off, man, we forgot Skeletor. We forgot to do Skeletor.
One of these times we'll put Skeletor. Well, I mean, unless you want to roll him now, but.
Should we do a cartoon redux? Should we go into like Hasbro? Should we do another? I want to do another cartoon.
Yeah, I actually think that we should, because I really enjoyed our Filmation one, and maybe we could do like a Hanna-Barbera or a Looney Tunes or or even like the Transformers. I mean, I feel like just talking about Frank Welker and like all those guys, might
or like Mask.
Or maybe we just do 80s cartoons or something like that. I mean, that could be super fun.
We could do your three favorite cartoons and my three favorite cartoons.
Oh, that could be cool. Yeah. All right. Well, I also I was gonna pitch this to you as well, that I was really interested in bringing up Wallace and Gromit. Do you ever see Wallace and Gromit?
Yeah. I remember watching those.
I feel like when I was in my
theater buddies back in the early '90s, I'm loving those. I'm feeling so lucky that somebody knew about them to introduce them to me.
Yeah, and I think that when I was learning how to animate, some of the things that I learned just by watching and analyzing the crap out of that was super fun. And I always thought, it'd be great to just kind of talk about the animation and the design and the characters.
I would love to talk about, especially Wallace and Gromit, because I mean they were doing that like manually, like
frame at a time, and also it's a dying art form. I mean, now like they do it all in the computer, and it's really and I started my career at like Celebrity Deathmatch, where they were doing
the blood spatter.
Yeah,
you put the blood spatter in after they'd had the right.
So maybe a stop motion thing. So I mean, this is something we can talk about. Maybe we should go back to talking about like cartoons.
I think we should bring Celebrity Deathmatch into it just to give sort of a frame of reference.
Maybe I can call up some of my old friends and get them to come on. I know there's a buddy of mine who is he helped design the pipeline for Celebrity Deathmatch. He's also an improv guy. He does some voiceover himself. He might be fun to get on the show. Anyways, that's an idea to think about.
Yeah.
So follow us on everything at Very Dad Ideas, all the things. When we get on iTunes, we're going to need some people to rate us and like us on iTunes.
Otherwise, they are going to make us go away.
Or not. We'll keep.
No, they won't. They won't care. They won't. They make no money. It doesn't matter to them.
It doesn't really matter to them. No. Okay. Well, great. Well, that's our show. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week on Tuesday night.
Next week, Tuesday, 9:30.
All right. Take care.
Or 9:32. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.